as Princess Diana said about the police episode, you have to have a laugh sometime.
That's for sure.
Interestingly, as Prince Andrew, Prince Edward are moving along in their coach. Prince Edward, who is something of a practical joker, as is his brother, showed up at one of the rehearsals with his arm in a sling, saying that he had been bitten by a kiwi in New Zealand.
Did he really?
He did.
But he left with his arm in another sling on the other side, so we were all told. This is Clarence House, where the bride will be leaving from.
In the spectacular glass coach built in 1910.
And it was the same coach. There you see the bride, along with her father.
Our first glimpse of the wedding dress.
Whoa, she looks beautiful. She has a veil down over her head. Lady Antonia, can you tell us a little bit about the dress?
Well, it's a fitted dress with a long train, and it's got the most wonderful embroidery of crystal and beadwork. The designer's really gone to town. There are S's there, A's for Andrew. There are B's, yes, bumblebees, embroidered, because that is the emblem Sarah has chosen for herself, because she says she's always so busy.
Interestingly, her image has come off as a bit more casual than others have been, and she went to a dressmaker instead of one of the famous designer houses for this dress. She decided to ask Linka Chirac to do it.
We just saw one of the sleeves, which has an S on it. It's got quite wide sleeves and quite big shoulders.
Is it satin, the dress?
Yes, it's Duchess satin, which of course is always from silk, of special silkworms at Lillingstone.
And she's carrying a bouquet, obviously, of white flowers.
And she specially asked for all the flowers to be perfumed. There's a lot of lily of the valley there.
So it must be a beautiful smelling glass coach there.
Yes.
A spectacular moment, and we will have more when we return with our royal celebration images just like this one as we come back after this word from your local stations.
Kruger Jewelers has been satisfying Texas customers since 1906. We don't make any fantastic claims or advertise unbelievable guarantees. What Kruger's does offer is outstanding value and a guarantee that we will satisfy you when you have a question, a problem, or a complaint. Come to Kruger's and let our courtesy, knowledge, and friendly attitude be like a breath of fresh air when you need help with a jewelry purchase. Kruger Jewelers, the ringleaders. We sell rings around everyone with 5 convenient Central Texas locations.
You can express yourself. Austin Shirtworks in the Windsor Village Shopping Center has a wide selection of t-shirts, transfers, and lettering. Plus, in many cases, Austin Shirtworks can put your original art or logo on a t-shirt or cap immediately with our sublimation process. You can even get a group discount when ordering for your business or group activities. Be yourself at Austin Shirtworks, the store that can bring out the best in you. Austin Shirtworks in the Windsor Village Shopping Center.
We are back at the royal celebration, the wedding of Prince Andrew and Miss Sara Ferguson. We just caught a glimpse a few moments ago of Miss Sara Ferguson. Now you see Prince Andrew arriving here with his brother, his supporter, Prince Edward. They are arriving at the front door of Westminster Abbey, and the crowd has gone wild here.
Prince Andrew, 26 years old, now leaves behind a somewhat colored reputation. In the past, he will assume the responsibilities as the Duke of York. His bride will be the Duchess of York. Listen to this.
The last time he rode in this coach, actually, was when he was support of his brother, Prince Charles.
In 1981.
So the next time Prince Edward will be in it, he will be on his way to becoming...
The tables have turned. They enter Westminster Abbey by the spectacular Great West Door. Now, they are just past the twin West Towers that were built back in the 18th century. A final cheer for the prince as he moves, I expect somewhat nervously, even if he's managing to cover it up.
He's making jokes with the sailors.
He's wearing his Falkland Islands medal. He became a hero in that war.
A helicopter pilot.
By this country. He's now walking into the Abbey. First time that anybody has seen him this day.
You mentioned that he became a hero in the Falklands War. In fact, he flew decoy against some of the Exocet missiles that were fired at the ships. The idea is for the helicopter to hover just off from the ship, and as the missile is drawn toward the heat, it then moves at the helicopter, and the helicopter then lifts away very quickly. It is an extremely dangerous mission. Prince Andrew never for a moment tried to pull away from it. Neither did his mother ask him not to go, nor did the Prime Minister.
He admits to having been changed by that experience, that it was one of the most frightening things that he'd ever undergone, but he did it very well, and he became a hero.
Roger, I expect that sort of thing had an effect on his public image as well.
Well, it had a tremendous effect. You know, the extraordinary thing is that when he was doing that, and he was the second in line to the throne, and he was in the front line of battle, and he was a hero, and the press as such treated him. But when he came back and he started seeing girls, he got angry. And Michael Caine, my friend, said, but why treat him like that? He is a sailor.
Well, he's not going to be seeing any more girls, Roger, because he's on his way to getting married.
Indeed,
And you just saw his wife-to-be, Sara, in the beautiful glass coach. And Lady Antonia, you could see the tremendous train there.
It's 17.5 foot, and I think the embroidery, we'll see a little more of it, but you could see this gleaming white Duchess satin, and we could see the veiling, and we could see a little bit of this kind of tiara made of flowers. Is what it looked like, all different sweet-smelling flowers, which Sara has specially asked for.
Passing under Admiralty Arch as Prince Andrew moves along Westminster Abbey, having a look at all the people who have gathered there. Tom Fenton is at Canada Gate. He watched the extraordinary procession moving out of Buckingham Palace, and that is not the only extraordinary thing on this occasion, Tom. A tremendous concern about security. 2,000 policemen and a great deal more than that, isn't there?
Yes, the amazing thing, of course, is that you don't see the security at all. If this were an American presidential occasion, you would see guards left and guards right, and guns in pockets. Most of the policemen are hidden, some on tops of buildings. Some, in fact, are actually riding in the procession. We don't know which ones, but you can bet on most of the major carriages, one of the footmen is not really a footman. He's simply a detective in uniform. And speaking, in fact, of footmen, on the bride's carriage, one of the footmen last year was unemployed in Liverpool, applied for a job at a government employment center, a job at a big house in London that had to do with horses, and of course it turned out to be a groom at the royal stables.
We are inside Westminster Abbey. The Queen looking at what will be proceeding. I guess she's having a look at the program. Prince Andrew is walking down along the way where his life will be completely changed in just a little time. His bride is still in the glass coach, accompanied by her father, Major Ronald Ferguson, and she will shortly arrive. This, of course, really is her moment more than Prince Andrew's, and so he will be maintaining a somewhat discreet posture off to the side as she comes in.
You just saw there, Forrest, his mother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, his grandmother. Lady Antonia, the royal family is extremely popular here in Britain today, isn't it?
They're more popular than they've ever been. It's been the development of the family concept, starting with the Queen Mother, 85, 86 in August, and spreading down.
And each of them are very different. A lot of people saying that Sara Ferguson will add a lot of joy, a lot of laughter to the House of Windsor and bring a whole new crowd of people with her that will start admiring the royal family who perhaps were not that interested in it before.
Yes, I think she's obviously a very friendly type. She's already won a lot of hearts, and I think people of her age, my children of her age, will very much respond to her. She's so cheerful, good-natured.
And she is a commoner, Roger. That seems not to have presented any problem at all.
When they say she's a commoner, she's descended twice from James I, I think. Illegitimate, they say, but she is a sixth cousin once removed of Prince. Now, I've known a lot of girls far more common than that.
A most uncommon commoner. Major Ronald Ferguson has been getting a little publicity, not particularly good recently. He has been selling some interviews.
Well, I think that he has a job to do, and all of a sudden the press come along and they want every minute of his time, and he said, well, if you want my time, you can pay for it, because I'm giving up my other work.
He's very close to the royal family.
Oh, yes, indeed. He at one time was, as you see these escorts there, he was a commander of the Queen's escort. In fact, on one occasion, his horse came up alongside the carriage, and it came too close, and the Queen said, back, Ron, they want to see me.
And today they want to see his daughter, Sara Ferguson.
At Princess Anne's wedding, he actually commanded the escort. He was telling us that
yes.
the other day. So I think when he rides with the Queen, as he will ride away from the Abbey.
Notice this. This is the cenotaph that they are moving past along the Whitehall, which stands for Empty Tomb, and it has a long history. Roger, you mentioned that often when you came by the cenotaph, you would tip your hat.
Yes, if you're wearing a hat and you pass the cenotaph, you should tip your hat. I don't know whether people do it today. When I was young, we all did it.
The cenotaph is a monument.
A monument to the dead of the First World War and the Second World War now. But it was erected in 1920.
Lady Antonia, Sara has been engaged now for approximately 4 months, and yesterday on this broadcast we were talking a little bit about the training that she has had to undergo in the last 4 months. months to get ready for this big day and, of course, to get ready for her future life. What has that been like? How will that have changed her, do you think?
Well, I think she'll have been calmed down a little, just a little, judging from her very charming and sort of fairly enthusiastic interview. But I think, you know, things will be explained to her that she can be herself, she can be natural, which is what Prince Andrew wants her to be, but she's got to get used to handle things like public appearances, which have their own rituals. So I think she'll have been sort of groomed, not meaning like one of these horses, but groomed to be a very busy person.
Incidentally, she has, as she puts it, all little people who will be her pages and bridesmaids, and one of them is the second in line to the throne, Prince William of Wales, who has said, Lady Antonia, by some to be something of a handful, and this is his first public occasion.
Yes, having met him, I'm definitely going to have my eyes on Prince William, because I think if there is an incident at this wedding, I wouldn't be surprised if Prince William provided it. He's enchanting, very handsome. He's just 4 years old. He was 4 years old in June, which is very young to be a page.
So he is second in line. Now
coming in our direction, I might say, is the glass coach, which we can see in that, by the way, so well because it has special interior lighting. It is the Duchess of Gloucester who is arriving first. The Duke of Gloucester and her 2 children are there as well, just behind the Queen Mother, and Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and Queen Elizabeth II. And just on the other side of the Queen Mother, you see the heir to the throne of England, Prince Charles and Princess Diana.
So there are several nervous parents in that group today, not only Princess Diana, Prince Charles, because Prince William is a page, but also obviously the Queen, whose son is getting married. And we should remember that while this is a very grand affair with television coverage being beamed worldwide, this is also a family affair, a woman whose son is getting married.
Do I hear some cheers in the background?
Oh, a lot of cheers.
A lot of Union Jacks are waving in the wind.
Let me see if I can guess why that crowd is cheering. We've got everybody who has arrived except one, and we happen to be looking at her. She is Sara Ferguson. That is a spectacular dress, isn't it?
And the bouquet is wonderful. It always has a sprig of myrtle from Queen Victoria's wedding bouquet. That'll be in there somewhere.
Now, up until today, Lady Antonia, she was going to become the Princess Andrew.
Right.
That has, of this morning, has all changed.
That's quite correct. She'll now be Her Royal Highness the Duchess of York.
And here we have it. Arriving here at the entrance of Westminster Abbey, with the crowd absolutely delighted by it. Listen to them as she moves past them.
Incidentally, the coach is so heavy that it has to move at that pace. The horses can't tow it any faster.
A matched set of bays. All of these horses beautifully trained. The Queen is quite a horseman herself. The royal family is. Also, Princess Anne is an expert horsewoman.
Any woman on her wedding day is a little bit nervous, but this must be multiplied by, I would think, 1,000,000 times over.
Now, I'm willing to make a small wager that Sara Ferguson is going to get all of the names exactly correct on this occasion. She's not going to follow in Princess Diana's footsteps.
The clue was Ace, she said.
Andrew
It's
and Ace.
Andrew, Albert.
Christian, Edward.
And Albert, so there are always an Albert from Queen Victoria's time on, but an Albert can never be king. That was Queen Victoria's wish.
King George VI was actually Albert.
Here are the little people who are all dressed up that she was talking
They're
about.
looking absolutely adorable.
They have some beautiful outfits too, don't they?
Zara Phillips, daughter of Princess Anne, is one of those. Laura Fellows, who is the daughter of Princess Diana's sister and her husband.
Let's not forget the pages. They are, well, here we have Sara stepping down.
The dress is being seen now for the first time,
It's going to be
helping her with her
incredible train, I believe.
Oh, isn't it wonderful? It's made of Duchess satin. It's sort of gleaming, isn't it, in this...
So much hand stitching was done by the seamstresses of Linka Chirac.
Her shoes, which we just saw, by Manolo Blahnik, who's a very well-known...
That is Linka Chirac there, fixing the dress, making sure that everything is absolutely right.
You can believe she's going to keep her eye on this. This is her moment in a much smaller way, but a very special moment for her.
She did say in an interview that her father at this point would be making a joke.
She favors, in wedding dresses, a form fit. And this is exactly that.
That is Linda Chirac fixing her veil for her walk down the aisle. It is a beautiful veil covering her face at the moment.
Not all bridesmaids, royal bridesmaids, have worn veils, but Sara has preferred to wear a veil. Now, the procession is moving on into Westminster Abbey. The nave is where she is standing now. The nave was built in the 14th century. That's where she'll first walk in. She's under some canvas at this moment. The roof is raised to a height of 101 feet. Stonework of the vaulting has been cleaned. I was going to mention the cleaning, by the way. If you've had a look at Big Ben earlier, you've seen how bright and sparkling it is. A big cleanup in this area, the Houses of Parliament, Big Ben, and finally Westminster Abbey will eventually be cleaned up, but it was not prepared for this occasion. Look at the train.
A large bow on the back of the dress. There was a lot of speculation. That train is absolutely incredible.
There's an S and an A at the very end, and there are some anchors for a sailor and hearts for love.
All of it done by hand?
All done by hand. I love the idea of the anchors. I never heard of a bride with anchors on her train. It's 17.5 foot.
And a rounded train there at the end, too, interestingly. It really is a beautiful dress.
It's a very different look than Princess Diana had when she was married to Prince Charles.
It's very different. And do note that Sarah is not wearing a tiara. She's wearing a sort of flowered tiara. Now, that is a department from tradition, which is quite exciting.
We just had a look at the gentleman who will be marrying Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew. It is the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Why is she not wearing a tiara?
I don't know. There's a rumor she's going to put on a tiara once she's married, but at the moment she's wearing a flowered tiara, which is very charming, I think.
She is here. Her train is being adjusted. Her father very proudly beside her, Major Ronald Ferguson, close friend of the family. The veil is adjusted, and soon she will begin walking down the aisle to Prince Andrew.
Where's Prince William?
The music you are hearing is the Imperial March. It is written by Edward Elgar. It will be played by Simon Preston on the Westminster Abbey organ.
This walk down the aisle is scheduled to take about 3.5 to 4 minutes. Sarah Ferguson, along with her father, Major Ferguson, walking down the aisle. It is a 500-foot walk, and I must say she is looking absolutely beautiful, not at all nervous. She is smiling, and her groom, Prince Andrew, is awaiting her down there. She is followed by the pages.
Pages on. In the fore is Prince William of Wales, the second heir to the throne of England, son of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Behind him, Master Peter Phillips. He is the elder child of Princess Anne and Captain Mark Phillips. Master Andrew Ferguson is Sarah's half-brother, and Seamus Macomb, 5 years old, is the elder child of Sarah's elder sister.
So Zara Phillips, daughter of Princess Anne, is also a bridesmaid.
Prince Andrew is a very happy man right now, awaiting his bride, who has made an absolutely spectacular entrance, passing on all the well-wishers, all of her loved ones, waiting to meet the man who will become her husband, who is now the Duke of York, and she will be the Duchess of Windsor. Look at the hand stitching.
You see the giant A on the back of her train. That, of course, is for Andrew. There's also S's on the train, which, of course, is for Sara. It is a 17-foot train, which is an extremely long train, very intricate beading on the train. And she has just now seen her groom for the first time. He has first seen her, and a broad smile swept over his face. And all four, Major Ferguson, Prince Edward, who is the supporter, are going up to the altar.
They are to be married, as were Princess Diana and Prince Charles, by the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Now the ceremony will begin with the hymn, Praise to the Lord, the Almighty.
Now the actual service
Dearly
begins.
beloved, we are gathered here in the sight of God and in the face of this congregation to join together this man and this woman in holy matrimony, which is an honorable estate instituted of God himself, signifying unto us the mystical union that is betwixt Christ and his church, which holy estate Christ adorned and beautified with his presence, and first miracle that he wrought in Cana of Galilee, and is commended in Holy Writ to be honorable among all men, and therefore is not by any to be enterprised nor taken in hand unadvisedly, lightly, or wantonly, but reverently, discreetly, soberly, and in the fear of God, duly considering the causes for which matrimony was ordained. First, it was ordained for the increase of mankind according to the will of God, and that children might be brought up in the fear and nurture of the Lord, and to the praise of his holy name. Secondly, it was ordained in order that the natural instincts and affections implanted by God should be hallowed and directed aright, that those who are called of God to this holy estate should continue therein in pureness of living. Thirdly, it was ordained for the mutual society, help, and comfort that the one ought to have of the other, both in prosperity and adversity, into which holy estate these two persons present come now to be joined. Therefore, if any man can show any just cause why they may not lawfully be joined together, let him now speak, or else hereafter forever hold his peace.
The Archbishop of Canterbury, Dr. Robert Runcie.
I require and charge you both, as ye will answer at the dreadful day of judgment, when the secrets of all hearts shall be disclosed, that if either of you know any impediment, why ye may not be lawfully joined together in matrimony, ye do now confess it. For be ye well assured that so many as are coupled together otherwise than God's word doth allow, are not joined together by God, neither is their matrimony lawful. Andrew, Albert, Christian, Edward, wilt thou have this woman to thy wedded wife, to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony? Wilt thou love her, comfort her, honor and keep her, in sickness and in health, and forsaking all other, keep thee only unto her, so long as ye both shall live?
I will.
Sara Margaret, wilt thou have this man to thy wedded husband, to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony? Wilt thou obey him and serve him, love, honor, and keep him, in sickness and in health, and forsaking all other, keep thee only unto him, so long as ye both shall live?
I will.